There we are.
Oh. And now the microphone is unmuted.
Well, that's
okay. Yes.
So let's
hello, everyone.
Hello. Do you want to introduce yourself,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Now we'll give it a couple secs for everyone to get. There's a bit of an echo in the background. Your PC was turned on. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Give it a couple more seconds for everyone's stream to kick in.
What a splendid evening.
Yes.
Is it going? Yeah.
It is. Okay, you think that's long enough?
Yeah,
that's probably long enough.
That's
All right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the ArmA 3 pre-E3 live stream hangout.
The inaugural live stream.
The inaugural, one of two, yes. And as you can see, I'm joined by a number of lovely people, and I guess we'll just go around and introduce each of you.
Yep.
So, to my right is...
Creative Director J. Crow.
Yes.
Nice to see you guys.
And...
Project Lead Joris, nice to be here. And Brand Manager Cornel.
Karl Nowitzki, the guy who breaks all the things.
Yeah. And I am Thomas Ryan, mission designer, and your host for now. So, I guess...
You didn't introduce the mascot.
Really? We're going to introduce that guy?
The mascot.
Well, then put him in the damn camera.
We got our mascot as well. It's a raccoon. Introduce it.
Okay,
It is
Junior
designer Pooper.
Junior designer Pooper.
They're making ArmA 3 Splendid since 2011.
Okay, so let's get started.
Let's get started.
So as you guys might already know, well hopefully you do if you read the invitations, today's live stream will be focusing specifically on the editor, making missions in the editor. So let's just zoom out here. Alright, so this is the ArmA 3 mission editor. Now the cool thing about this is that it's actually pretty much a dev tool. It's the exact same tool we use to make our own missions. And today I'll just be guiding you through basically getting your foot in the door with mission editing. So to start off, I guess we'll just run through the basic functionality of the mission editor. You can see here we have two different bars on the top and on the left side. Now the thing about that is you can actually change the layout if you choose. There's a button right here that lets you choose it. You have the streamlined and the traditional variant, but for the sake of this, we're going to stick to the streamlined one.
And you would not believe how many arguments there have been about
it is
what
quite
the best
impressive.
layout should be.
It is quite impressive how...
We should rename basically this traditional, which is what the original programmers of the game made, and that's all they can use. And then the streamlined, which is what Karl Murray put in, which everyone hates him for. But I kind of like it.
But we kind of like it, yeah.
Yeah.
It has a nice feel to it.
It's also called streamlined, which is a really scary word for all PC gamers.
For older, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so sticking with the streamlined preset. First section we'll talk about is the top left, the very first one right here. These are all your basic typical editor of any kind functions. So you have clear, load, save as, and merge. The only one really that we should talk a bit more about is merge. What's interesting about this is it actually lets you build a mission in parts. And say if you have like a really large mission or a more complicated mission, rather than you having to like build the start and then go all the way through the mission to a certain point and test the next part, you could build the mission in sections and then merge them very easily using this. It's quite a handy function.
But we're not going to do that today.
But we don't do that today because we're going to keep it very basic.
And
yes.
How basic are we going? What are we making for you guys?
Well, today we're, for lack of a better idea, going to be doing a variation of Steal the Car from the classic mission from Operation Flashpoint. Some of you might remember if you've been around long enough.
So this is Cornel's favorite mission, basically the only one he can play well.
That's Cornel, by the way.
That's Cornel.
Yeah.
So we're going to put this together using a few of the new assets that will be in the beta.
Yes.
So you get a sneak preview of that.
Yeah.
Maybe give you guys some options as to which units that we use, which weapons you'd like to see, and use Steal the Car as like a basis for showing these things off, and also letting people get familiar with the editor tool One thing we thought about was the guys that have the light version of the game. They still have the editor, but maybe they're not very familiar with the tool, how to use it. So hopefully this gives you an idea of the potential it's got, how easy it is to put something together. And I can't think of anyone better to show us than Thomas.
This
Zipper
guy.
5, right?
Zipper 5. There's
Zipper
the
5.
first.
Zipper 5. If you're playing a drinking game at home, you have
Keep
to,
track.
you have
Keep
to
track
take
of
a
how
drink
many
on Zipper
times.
5.
Yeah.
Zipper 5.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir.
That was an overview.
Yes, that was a very, very decent overview. Thank you.
Decent.
Yes.
Thank you. Good.
Okay, so back to the matter at hand here. The more editor-specific things that we have now to explain. Intelbox, if you've edited in any of the previous ArmAs or Operation Flashpoint for that matter, this might be a familiar display to you. But for ArmA 3, we have expanded it. You can see here that there's a lot more control over the weather settings. But you still have the really basic stuff, which we'll go through one by one. Name, obviously, just the mission name. This will be how it'll be displayed in the lists and such if you were to share it with your friends. We'll cover some interesting stuff about that later. Description, that's much more specific to multiplayer. It's what people will basically get when they select the mission in the mission selection screen. People typically just include a very short summary of the mission here. They might include how many players, what kind of a game it is, that kind of stuff.
Maybe we can show the guys one of the new things and show them like different times a day. How quick it is to do that.
Sure, if we want.
Also see the frame rate in games.
Well, yes, that as well. So you can see we've expanded it to include control over rain, lightning, waves, wind, and wind is divided into three different sections: strength, gusts, and direction. So for now, I guess gusts, I'm not actually entirely sure.
Sounds like a programmer said.
But I'd imagine it increases the probability of a strong gust of wind during the mission. And you can see typically they're set by default to automatic, but we can take them off at any point and give like a huge amount of lightning or no lightning at all, but we'll leave it on default for now. And finally, you can set the time it takes for any of these changes to take effect. So
let's set my favorite time of day.
Yeah, this guy has a bit of a thing for
I like the romantic
sunsets.
No, I like the sunrise.
Sunrise or sunset? Sunrise. Okay.
I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah. So let's go 5. Let's say 5:30, and turn on the overcast.
Yeah.
Zipper 530.
Zipper 5:30. Okay.
Maybe we can go down to J Cove, put like a helicopter there.
J Cove. Ah, but it's Stragos Bay. Oh no, J Cove is still there. Never mind.
You haven't been designing.
I have not been to J Cove
How big
in
is
too
this
long.
island, and you don't know the name of the
That
coast?
is disappointing.
This is why.
Okay, so let's
Put a green. Put one of the green
green
guys
guys.
in.
Sure.
So part of the beta, we're introducing a third playable faction. They're called Green for the moment. They have it's not exactly the full set, but it'll be definitely for the beta comparable with what we've so far got for blue and red.
Yeah, those of you who were here at the start of the stream, the sniper and the helicopter are part of the new green faction. And here's the basic rifleman of that. So have we got the right time of day? I think we do. Maybe we need a bit more clouds. But one really nice new thing that we've added in the beta, which we can show right now, is new 3D scopes. So you can see this is the...
Oh my god, chocolate meal!
So yes, second new, I should say, including the Green Army feature that is new to the beta are our 3D scopes. So right now we have the zoomed out variant, and if we just swap quickly, there's the actual proper 3D scope, which is quite nice.
It's like my game doesn't look like it was from 2001.
Well, that's true.
So these 3D scopes are used on what we call the combat optics. So the default scope for Blue 4 and Op 4, they have something similar to this. It's handled a little bit differently, and we can show you that. a bit later when we
Yeah, those
put
of
the
you-
hammer sight down
Yeah.
and
The hammer sight and the ARCO, I think they are.
the
Yeah. But yeah, those of you who've been playing the public alpha will notice very quickly when you launch the public beta that the default scopes for Blue 4 and Op 4 have also been changed
Yeah.
to 3D variants. Much nicer feel in the game.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely a little thing, but
A little thing that makes a big
it
difference.
makes it a big
Yeah.
difference. You feel they're slightly less zoomed in than they used to be, which makes it combat can be a little more difficult because you're not right up in
For
their
sure.
faces.
Yeah.
But just being able to sort of feel the world move around you, it makes it a lot more natural.
Definitely.
It changes the complexion of some missions. It's not some exciting new technology that no one's ever seen before, but for us, it's quite nice to have it in game.
Yeah, it's definitely a
It's
nice addition.
It's been a long time coming for a lot of people, so it's nice to see it there.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess get started on the
Yeah,
actual mission building.
Do it.
So first thing first is to choose where your mission is going to take place. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to do a variation on Steal the Car from Operation Flashpoint. And for the sake of it, I've chosen Agia Marina, the capital of the island of Stratus. What you want to do when you start is find the best actual starting location for your player that makes sense, looks nice, and you can work with, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the player on the Blue 4 side stealing a car from the new green faction. So let's plop ourselves down and preview. So we're just going to walk around and see if we can find a good starting location for us for this mission. So here's Agia Marina.
So that'll be the homicide for the
Yeah,
for Blue 4.
we can actually show that. This is the new 3D variant of the hammer. You can see it's much nicer than what was in the public alpha, if I do say so myself.
If he does, and he does. He does.
But I think this is actually like a decent enough starting location. Maybe further back. Maybe even facing the sun. But yeah, let's see what we can find. This is a nice area. I like the trees and all that kind of stuff around here. So let's say we start here. Very easy way to find this once you go back to the editor is just open your map, pressing M, and you can see we're right here. You can even read off the grid coordinates if you need to.
How are we doing on the stream, Cornel? Have we got any questions?
We have some questions, but we also have Joris Jan on the chat. He will be answering some of the questions.
is all up in there.
Joris Jan is the
He's on the
project lead.
case. Yeah.
on ArmA 3.
Joris Jan is the project lead indeed.
He's our dear leader and savior.
Okay, so we know where this nice starting location is, so let's back out again. Bring us over here. That looks about right. If you hold shift, by the way, as you drag the unit around while selected, you can actually change his azimuth without having to go right into the create unit window. That's quite a handy little piece of information most don't seem to know. But let's set him that way because that was where the sun was facing. Cool. Alright, so we found the good starting location for the mission. Now let's find where we want our car to be. So once more, it looks, well, you obviously don't want to have the player start right next to the car, so we'll need to have them actually have to go straight into the town
What car
somewhere.
will we use?
Well, what do you want to use? What do they want to use?
We could ask them.
Well, we have new stuff, which we
Yeah.
can't show.
Well, the green guys, they have, well, we've seen some screenshots of it before, but the Strider, so that's the green guys, basically their equivalent of the MRAP. We also have some logistics vehicles for blue and red, so we have this huge hemp truck. So let's throw a bunch down and see which one you want to use. So
Sure.
we'll put maybe the three together, and then we can pick one of them.
One little handy tip is that if you don't want to mess with your player unit so much, you can of course at any time place down another unit and set him as player, so you can keep him there. Obviously if he's on the same side, he might end up grouped, so what you do to ungroup him is you go here to your left side of the panel, select the groups button, and just click and drag. and now he's out of your group. But yeah, we just want to preserve the nice starting location, so we'll set ourselves as a different unit for the preview.
So let's throw down
let's throw down
3 empty vehicles.
Yeah. So it is the Strider.
So the Strider is something like the equivalent of the Ifrit, and the point that the config guys want me to say is that they're not necessarily directly equivalent. Some are a little bit faster, some are a bit more maneuverable, but they're basically the equivalent and balanced. So maybe you put down the Hemp as well.
Yeah.
So this is the Blue 4 transport truck. So you can put like a whole bunch of guys in the back of here, transport across the big distances that are in ArmA. And then up 4 also have the Kamaz truck. But I think maybe just these will
Just
will
these
do
two?
for now,
Sure.
'cause they're the newer ones.
So let's click preview. Now I don't know how this will look. The Hemp might actually be sticking through the building, but we'll find out. Oh, it looks fine. Kind of. Yeah, it looks fine. So yeah, here we have the green Strider. It's nice digital camouflage. Ooh, that was good timing with the sunset.
Nice.
Sunrise. Sunrise.
Sunrise.
So yeah, green Strider is here. So that's option 1. And the Hemp truck is right here. Which
He's
is
a bit of a
option 2.
beast. Do we have the sound
He's a bit massive.
configured for this yet?
We do actually.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Well, in that case,
In that
my
case, we
vote is-
might just
my
have to go
vote
for
is
the
this,
Hemp.
but if the guys want.
Well, what does everyone else think, Mr. Corneo?
Maybe jump into it.
Yeah,
'Cause I haven't
jump
heard
into
too
it,
many
drive
sounds.
around.
The
I
guys
got
are-
in as co-driver, so let's
Congratulations.
go in as driver.
That's a nice little-
Yes.
So, part of the beta will be expanding like the logistics of all the different sides. What that means is these transport trucks, transport helicopters, basically helping you navigate the big distances. It's not such an issue on Stratus, which is why we didn't sort of prioritize these coming out earlier. But when we
Oh, I've
when we
lost
get
control. Oh my god.
when we get to Altus
This is
later
a
in
terrible
the
idea.
this is definitely you need to get around. You need to get around with a whole bunch of guys. The ARVs only have space for 3 or 4. So this let's
This
get
allows
the,
you to carry around a lot more guys.
Yeah, we'll
so-
look at the transport helicopters later because they're pretty cool as well.
But let's drive back.
So I have made an executive decision
That is going to be the Hemp
We're going to be
truck?
stealing the Hemp because it's also a bitch to drive around, so that'll be fun
Well, then-
to escape in.
Yeah, so I guess it's a good thing that we're actually in it right now, because what we can do now without quitting out is we can find a good spot that we want to stash it.
Let's do it.
So that could be an option, but can he even fit? No, he's too big for that. That's a shame. Drive across a nice little bridge.
So I guess we'll want to put it somewhere like, well, you tell me. When you're designing the mission, what do you think about like how the AI can use the terrain and
Yeah, big things to
player
keep in
accessibility
mind
and such?
are perhaps the biggest to keep in mind is how well the AI can move about in your mission.
Well, this looks nice. We're
Yeah,
beside
this
the,
actually seems to be a pretty good spot.
we're beside the sea, so if you wanted to go underwater, you can maybe.
And there's enough parking space for the big truck.
Do you drive yourself?
How do you mean?
Do you have a driving license?
I don't have a driver's
Well, you're
license.
not.
I am sorry.
So
I am now driving illegally in the game. That is not right.
Just going.
Okay, so this looks like a good spot for the Hemp. It's right here. So let's quit out and move him over there. Get rid of the Strider. And here we go. So yeah, as we were saying, it's a big deal that the AI can access the areas that you are using in your missions. But of course, it's also a big deal that the player can as well. So what we should do now is just make sure that the player can actually go around and get into the truck.
That'd be nice.
Because if you can't do that, and we should make sure that the truck itself is not hitting into anything or clipping. Oops. Yeah, it looks fun. Can I get? I should be able to get into that.
Maybe I should have said before the where we're getting the beers from.
Ah, the beer. Yes. Well, funnily enough, we actually had.
This is not a word from our sponsors, by the way.
Yes, this is not a
Maybe
sponsored
I should have
shot.
mentioned where
Yeah.
we got our free consignment of beer. Well,
Exactly.
the good people. So who gave us these?
Well, recently we received a nice little care package from the Comrades in Arms community. And it came with a whole bunch of beer. and some nice notes and such. So big thanks for that.
We'll be drinking these beers throughout this live stream.
So yes, shout out to Comrades in Arms. But yeah, so we have the nice spot for our truck now, and we have the nice starting location. So now comes perhaps the tougher part of the mission building, which is basically placing the enemy throughout the town. So as we said earlier, it's a big issue that the AI can move about. So as you're placing guys, be sure that you don't place them like right inside an object that they can't move out of, all that kind of stuff, because you can, and it's part of the freedom of ArmA that you could, because for whatever reason somebody might decide they want to place them on a building that can't be exited and stuff like that. But for the sake of this, we'll keep it simple and keep everybody on the ground moving about as freely as they possibly can. Big issue as well is making it so that it's believable but perhaps not too difficult. So you have to really keep an eye on the number of enemies you place around. So for now, one nifty thing about the guys being on the independent side is you might have seen earlier when we were looking at the intel box that you can set the affiliation of the independent side. So for the sake of building the mission, for placing these enemies, I should say, it might be better to just leave them affiliated to Blue 4, because then I won't be shot at
So who are
as
we
I'm
going to
moving
play
around.
as? Are we going to be Op 4 or Blue 4?
We're going to stick to Blue 4 as the player, but he's going to be stealing the truck from the green guys.
Do we have any new stuff we could show from Blue 4? Well, I guess you guys have seen the sniper package which came out recently.
There was, yeah.
There's that.
But we also, can we show the Comanche? I guess we can show the
I know.
Comanche.
Show the Comanche.
Thumbs up for the project lead, so we can show the Comanche.
That's up to Carol.
You show Comanche.
Yeah, Carol really wants. There he is. So
I
let's.
don't know, because we have that pretty sexy looking new machine gun for, don't we?
We do as well.
I
But
guess.
we've already hinted at the Comanche, so it would be quite a bad move to go and take that away from
I
guys.
prefer a machine gun to a Comanche.
Let's do both. Both.
I got it.
Let's
Why
do
have
both.
one? We can-
Yes. Okay. So start with the Comanche because the popular demand is Comanche. So here we go.
They all be wanting the Comanche.
Yes.
Oh my god, what was that below the Comanche that you could have selected?
Don't dare to destroy the Comanche.
Set down
Oh,
the
should we destroy the
Set down
Comanche
the
now?
Comanche.
Yeah.
Does it have a wreck model?
It does. I think it does. We would find out very quickly if it doesn't. Oh,
We can
bit of a
wait,
pop-up
what?
error. Keep in mind this is also still
I was trying to move the
in
conversation
development.
towards Steve. How are we going to steal the truck from the Comanche?
That's true.
Blow up.
But we can at least show it as the mentality.
What, do you think these people that tuned in to this are really students?
That is a good question. Yeah. But yeah, so here's the Comanche, which will be part of the public data. Show off the firepower of this.
So this is the firepower, part of the firepower resistance. So we have this, and we have the equivalent for both the helicopters from the northern commands, conservation from the forums about the activists.
But we really like it.
You guys are right. But leaving that to the side, for the game itself, it's really cool and really like the art.
Okay, so let's get it fired. You can see also that the gun pods come out when you swap. But yeah, so that's enough of the Comanche for now.
Oh. So
Volume down.
Volume down a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
You just blew my head
Yeah.
over. So I
So
didn't knew that you love it.
Yes.
No, but Bohemians aren't loud enough, are they? So I'm sure a model fixes sound.
Yes. So next, let's show the machine gun. This is the Op-4 auto rifleman. Only problem here is that our player, he's facing the other way, so he won't shoot at us. He will.
This
as soon
mission
as he
isn't
shows.
progressive very fast.
Yeah, it's not really.
This is
No.
probably my. I'm sorry. If you want to see the mission, it's coming soon.
See what I have to live with?
Wait, you're being directed creatively.
I am being creatively
That's what
directed.
happens. This is what I do basically. Not much.
No, not much. So yeah, here's the new machine gun for the Op-4 side. It's called the Sapphire.
How are you pronouncing that?
Sapphire? How is it
Sapphire.
pronounced? Sapphire.
It's not a bloody gem, is it?
Sapphire?
Sapphire.
Okay. Well, machine gun. And yeah, really nice. And let's give it a couple shots. And it has semi in full auto. So yeah, really nice new
Yeah.
machine gun for the Alpha side.
Yeah, we still got a bit more polishing to do to it.
Yeah, still work in progress.
Yeah.
But still,
We wanted to have like each of the sides having a different machine gun option, and
so from the side.
yeah, we have some limited resources, limited time to decide. We thought, starting with infantry and making that basic selection of weapons, the machine gun, the assault rifle, the sniper rifles that we just added,
Definitely.
making each side have something interesting, distinctive of its own. That was one of our priorities.
Yeah, the core of ArmA for like the longest time and Flashpoint is infantry, so we need to get that like.
I mean, it's nice to have the helicopter guns.
Yes, of course.
But also we need to spend some time on actually making the
Mission.
the mission.
The mission.
Okay, people don't
Yeah.
care about these new things.
Man,
The
apparently
project
not.
lead just demanded we get back to the mission.
So let's get back to the mission then. Okay, so as I was saying before that detour,
Sorry.
we're going to start placing the enemy units that will be patrolling the town, and we'll keep their affiliation to Blue Force so that I don't get shot at as I go around looking at them. So set me back to the player here. So I guess start with the guards of the truck because that makes the most sense.
Okay.
Let's
So
go with, I guess, a group of guys. Swap to independent. Nah, not group. Let's go with just individual units.
Yeah.
Independent. Let's place an auto rifleman, sure. And we can set ourselves as the player of him, because then we can see exactly where we've placed him. And stick him, I guess, right next to the truck.
so far what Thomas has shown you is placing basic units. So we have one for Blue 4, one for the green side, and then the yellow truck is an empty vehicle. So this isn't assigned to anyone. So no one will try and shoot it up. And so now you're going to give them some movement waypoints? Or,
Well, we can.
yeah, so
maybe
this is getting stuff in the game. Very
Yeah.
simple. Click, 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 click. Simple units. Making them do something then, I think would be interesting.
is the next step, yeah. So let's leave him, I guess, as the main guard of the truck, and let's give a patrolling unit around the truck. So let's place another unit here, make him, I guess, what, a grenadier, and just reset his azimuth. Okay, and again, since they're the same side, they're automatically grouped, so you might want to ungroup them like that. Now, we'll be introducing here, I guess. What have you found?
People are wondering what that crazy Steam icon is beside the preview button. What is
Should
that?
we show them?
No, Yoris is going to show that.
Yours is going to show that, okay. Alright, so what we're going to do now is make him patrol around the truck. Very simple. Basically what you see is what you get. So we select the waypoint mode here, and you select the unit to make sure that it's a waypoint assigned to him, and then you just double click. So it's very similar to placing an actual unit, but it opens up a completely different window, which is the insert waypoint window. So you can see here you can change a whole bunch of parameters, height above ground, timeouts, what happens when he reaches the waypoint, what happens, what scripts are executed, all that kind of stuff. But for the sake of making him patrol, we're going to set his behavior to safe, which will make him at ease, and his speed mode to limited, which will make him just walk. So now what will happen is he'll just move there, and obviously that that's not perfect because we want him to keep moving around, so the player has to be aware of him. So let's have him, I guess, just move straight back to his same position. And in order to make him keep going, we select the special waypoint type cycle. This will make him go between these two waypoints endlessly, pretty much. So let's put a cycle waypoint right there. You can tell it's his waypoint. It's now grouped back to him, and it creates a little loop there. So now we have a patrolling unit. Let's change his direction. Again, we hold left shift and just move the mouse. And there you go.
So, in summary, we've placed a bunch of units.
Yes.
We've given them something to do, walk around, and then maybe we can see that.
Yeah.
This
Let's
like,
preview and see what
if
we
I
have so
hadn't
far.
have caused a slight distraction of like 10 minutes or whatever.
And
then
I'm
we
sure
can
they
make it
enjoyed
out.
it. Is your time
Yeah,
up?
We're swapping. Let's tag team.
We're going to tell people about that button.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them all. about the Steam
Okay.
button.
But
But let's see
What,
our
is it
scene first.
Click it to
Yeah.
sell yourself
Yeah.
to Valve or something? Is that what it is?
These
You want me to
guys.
go?
Yeah.
Well, I'll finish my beer.
You finish it out of the frame. Cheers.
Okay, so we are sat here as the guarding unit right next to here.
Thank you.
And here's our guy patrolling around, looking all macho. Cool.
So have you
should-
been talking about the stance indicator yet?
I have not mentioned that yet.
Because that's probably something pretty cool, and that's appeared already in the alpha and the development branch.
We seem to have a little bit of a visual
A little
glitch
bit
there.
of a glitch.
Yes, but you know, alpha's alpha.
But if you look at your
Or
top
beta's
right, next to the weapon info, there's the stance indicator now,
Mhm.
and a lot of people were asking
Let's
for
get
this.
that glitch away, perhaps.
Yeah, let's restart.
Yeah. Okay. Oops, wrong button. So let's just place yourself as another different unit.
And there's that Steam icon again.
Yeah. There's.
Should I go, or do you want to
Staring.
first show this off?
Let's show this off. We've already
Yeah.
baited them with it.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the stance indicator, it allows you to more quickly see what stance you're currently in, especially with all of the adjustable stances.
It's extremely useful, especially in like first person where you can't really tell
Yeah.
always. Gives you a nice situational awareness.
And some people might find it unrealistic, but when you think about it, in real life you have all these senses, like you can feel your actual legs and the
Yeah,
position.
some
so
things just have to be represented in this way.
plus
Yeah.
it will be optional, so you can toggle it in the
Mhm.
options if you want
Yeah.
to.
So you can see now, it doesn't look like this is us standing and this is
Yeah.
us crouched. On first glance, it's not that obvious, but now we have the stance indicator, so it's very
There is
clear
another
in the top
indicator,
right.
you can see your cursor, it's slightly more narrow when
expanding
you're crouched
and-
because of your accuracy.
yeah, it's representing accuracy.
But it does help a lot, I think.
And you can see it's most accurate when you're prone.
And I do believe that the stance indicator will already be in the alpha patch that is coming out next
I
week.
think so, yeah.
So you don't have to wait for beta for that.
But another thing that I'm sure you're all aware of in ArmA 3 is the multiple different adjusted stances,
Yep.
which are also shown by the arrows on the sides of the
So now
stance
he's
indicator.
adjusting to the left, and you can see the little arrow
Mhm.
next to his crouch.
And you can, of
icon.
course, stand up and go prone as well.
This is one of those things that the community and people on the feedback tracker actually all requested quite a bit. So
Oh no, okay, we're fine. I thought we got stuck for a second there. And there's also this, which I think is a recent addition, but the just left and just right went prone.
also there's the pistol prone
Mm.
leans that are.
What's
pretty
quite nice
cool.
about this is you can actually adjust yourself as needed.
Yep.
But yeah, so
You've
that's
been showing off the
stance
pistol as
indicator.
well for the. green
We have
one.
not actually.
'Cause that's,
But yeah, this
that's
is their
always linear as well.
this is their primary weapon, which is the Mark 20, which has been already shown, I think, in the screenshots and stuff. And
Yeah,
this
it's
is the
been-
new
It's been reskinned for the green faction.
yeah, and this is the new ACP C2, which is their primary sidearm. And let's give that. Why don't we just give those a couple shots? Yeah. So really nice new guns.
I think the pistols are much more satisfying to use compared to ArmA 2, like
Oh yeah, much.
especially when you're in the close quarters and you can just. more
Our
accurately
animation
aim.
guys have done wonders with the pistol animations. They are as smooth as the rifle ones. Nice with the tactical pace, all that kind of stuff, and nice little stuff. Oh, we can have. Are people aware of it? Yeah. Well, there
So
you go.
this is
You can now also destroy
fancy new
buildings.
effect.
Yeah. Destroy building windows, I should say. Okay, so stance indicator. Now, what was next on the agenda?
I think maybe
It's the
people
little.
wanna-
It's the little button here.
Yeah.
The little button.
So
Well,
I
you
think-
can see.
Yeah, wait till later.
Really?
No, we're gonna.
No,
go
we're
into it.
gonna dive straight into
Like-
it.
Most of the people they'll know. They're probably expecting what it is because we have gone with Steam, and that brings us certain features that are pretty cool. And so obviously, what this will allow you to do is from the editor directly publish a mission to Steam.
So we should probably save the mission first.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
Steam
okay.
Workshop, I should say.
Yeah. So let's just call this. This is the save window, and you can just call your mission whatever you want here. So let's call it. Well, why don't we call it steal the car?
Why don't we?
Steal the car. Do we want to select that just yet? Probably not. So we go user mission for now. So now the mission will be saved for later reference, for you to change stuff around as you please, and you can load it later, so you don't have to make the mission all at once.
So now let's
But
try to
now
click
let's
it.
open it. So there we go.
So several cool things here. You can of course set some tags so that people can find your mission based on the category. You can directly from the game set an overview image. There's a default shown there, but if you click select image, it'll open up a little browser. And one of the folders there is your Steam screenshots folder. So when you in the overlay you've done a screenshot, you can just select that and use it.
So I guess we'll do that later and actually plug it in.
I'm not sure if we'll actually use the go through the
Right,
publishing
okay,
process now.
sure.
We just want to show
Yeah.
what it is about. You can do a description. You can first set it to private if you just want to test it with a bunch of friends. Yeah, and as you can see, currently there's only a tiny 10 megabyte storage, but that's only the testing phase. It will extend to, I'm not exactly sure, but there will be plenty of space to host a couple of missions there.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be available to everyone. Yeah.
It's also really important to say that this does not replace the traditional ways of sharing missions or of
ArmAholic
installing
and
missions.
community websites.
Yeah, if you don't want to bother with Steam Workshop, you can still just drop missions directly into your documents or your game, and you can share them on any internet site, whatever.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
some
it's
really cool
still-
websites for that.
It
that
still
do
keeps
reviews.
intact all the hard work done by the community guys and stuff.
But this is maybe one of my more favorite features coming to ArmA 3 because it'll really easily and all in the game allow you to share missions and to download them, be subscribed to missions.
Yeah, it'll give like budding mission designers, which hopefully a lot of you will be after this live stream, the opportunity for a wider audience to download their missions and try them
Exactly.
out. And really easy as well.
And the subscription as well means you don't have to re-download new versions when there's a tiny bug fix. It'll
Yeah, that's-
automatically download in your game without restarting. And
That's definitely a really nice feature of it, is that like it automatically updates. So there you go.
So there's
That's the publish to Steam Workshop.
I guess
window.
people will be wondering when this is coming to the ArmA 3 beta. We will not have it at the beta launch, but most likely in the weeks after that. So during the beta, not at the initial release.
Yeah.
We're doing the final testing for it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we
Let's
go.
continue. your
Yes. Let's. All right. So we have our patrol guy, we have our guard, and we have our truck. So I would say that's about good enough for guarding the truck itself.
mission. Later you can
So-
balance.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The best way to balance it is by playing. So always keep adding new stuff, test it, see if it works. If it doesn't work, change it up, and then keep doing that over and over and over. And eventually you'll get to the setting that you want it to be. So now is basically what I'll call the filler units. So what will be actually almost the roadblock for the player as he's going through the town. Because obviously right now what could happen is you could just go straight to the car and there you have it. He's got the car. You could kill these two very easily and mission done pretty much. So let's place a couple of guards at logical locations around. So you can see that Agia Marina has a bunch of bridges. So let's place some guards in front of each bridge. So we'll keep the unit
Do you have,
options
you have a
selected.
helicopter patrolling it?
We don't yet.
So
We could.
that might be another cool thing. That's a little bit of a throwback to the Flashpoint Cold
Flashpoint,
War
yeah,
Crisis,
if-
steal the car.
Some of you guys might remember there's a hind that flies over at the start. So do we want to ask them which one they want?
Yeah,
We
is
can give
there-
them the option. I
Does
guess.
anyone have any requests? Like we have the,
We have the MI-48, the Alpha one.
I think the MI-48 might be a pretty cool
and it would definitely fit
comparison
in
to
here.
the, like a
Um,
gunship.
But I guess we also have the Green Army Merlin.
Throw in the MI-48.
Yeah, okay,
we'll show them,
MI-48.
and then later we can swap it out.
Cool. MI-48. So
Yeah, I think the
MI-48,
people are saying
everyone wants
MI-48. Some people are saying Merlin, but that's more of a. Well, first of all, it's
Well,
not really a Merlin.
well,
It's
yeah.
inspired by something
that's
like
true.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But it's
shouldn't,
also more of a transport helicopter, so it's not going to do as much good for scaring
True,
the player,
yeah.
I think.
This thing is loud and it is armed.
This is a beast.
Yeah.
It's a flying tank, and it's awesome.
So should
And
probably
it's coming to beta.
yes, it'll be in the beta. So one thing I should note here is I changed the special. You can see I did it really quick. It's kind of instinctive, but the special here will allow you to set the state of the unit on the mission start. Because this is a helicopter and because we want it already flying, we set it to just flying state, and that will make him already in the air, engine on, all that kind of stuff.
I was reading some of the guys or people in the chat saying that you know about this stuff already,
Mhm.
like the editing, but I think it's important to see as well that there's a lot of people who don't know the editing.
Oh yeah.
And it could be pretty cool to show them what freedom it offers and how
Yeah.
quickly you can.
Yeah. So slow it down. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So let's just give him a waypoint just like we did with these guys before. And we want him to fly straight over the town, so let's put it like what, here?
Would
I
the
guess?
new loiter waypoint work for this already?
If we want him to just circle around,
We could try
we
it.
could try.
This
yeah,
is
why
something
not? This is an
maybe
experiment even for us.
some of the experienced designers might know what this is about. This is a
Mm.
new waypoint type, the loitering.
Right there.
Yep.
So you can see I just went into the waypoint window again, select type this time, and I'm going to choose the loiter type. So what this should do is it should make him actually just
Circle.
circle. Yeah. Okay. So we'll find out if that is what happens. Let's place him.
I
Let's
see
turn him
people
around.
asking about the equipment tab, but unfortunately that is not quite ready yet
Yeah.
to be shown, so we'll just skip that
Well,
for now.
we'll leave it to a later time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's see if this works. So now we should have this big helicopter flying right over our faces and scaring us.
And this is one of those things that I really like about the ArmA series is you can just drop on a helicopter like that and it'll fly. You don't have to set up some scripted sequence where it's flying a
So here
specific
he
path.
is.
Yeah.
Let's hope he doesn't see us. But he seems to actually have reached the waypoint and now starting to loiter.
Bit of a silhouette.
Oh, what's he shooting at? He might be shooting at our player unit. Our player unit is shooting at him. That's the
That
thing.
seems like a smart thing to
Yeah,
do.
well, that's sort of the thing about ArmA. You never know what's going to happen.
Another nice feature of this particular gunship is it has a little bit of cargo space for passengers, so you can drop in maybe like a special forces
Yeah,
squad.
and believe me, when you see this thing come in and then drop off troops and then continue engaging you, you know, you hopefully will have
It's best to
your
avoid
own
it usually.
support. Yeah, sure. And our player unit doesn't seem to be. Yeah, okay. But yeah, it seems the later waypoint does work. So there you go. So let's actually leave him on loiter so that he's a constant threat to the player. So yeah, we now have our nice helicopter flying over. So let's, I guess, populate the town.
Have you shown any other times of day yet?
We've only set it once to Jay's favorite time of day.
Because it might be cool to show this off at night with all the new lights and
It's true. Yeah.
like even maybe the MI48 will have its lights on.
That is a good point actually. So
So
obviously a big thing about ArmA is that we have the 24-hour day-night cycle, so we can at any point change this very quickly to the nighttime. So let's do, I guess, what, 23, 30, and let's get rid of the overcast entirely, so there's no clouds. So now the mission should be pitch black, but we'll find out.
Well, it depends on whether there's full moon as well.
True as well, but we'll see. So you can see already some of the nice improvements to lighting and stuff that's coming with the public beta. You can see over there all the lights have turned on.
And carried over from the previous games, of course, is that the star map is actually accurate to where you are in the world. Same with stuff like the tides and
Oh, and we can actually see the tracers
traces
now.
coming in.
That is quite nice.
He doesn't seem to have his lights on, but he's obviously on aware or from that night.
Yeah, one thing, that is one thing, yeah, for sure. We should maybe swap them to safe,
Yeah.
perhaps, as we did before with the patrolling unit. But yeah, so nighttime looks quite nice. Should we keep it night or should we keep it sunset, do you think?
Probably go back.
Yeah,
So
probably.
people can see
so
more.
you can see more, yeah, sure. So let's change the time of day very quickly back to...
Is there any other specific questions coming in? Or?
Well, I think people are asking about Altis. So
Yeah, so for the beta, it will still be Stratus, and Altis, we're saving that for the full release. There is still work to do on that as well, so that's one of the reasons. What might happen though is that we'll be staging Altis on the development branch ahead of the full game's release so that we can still test it. We're not yet sure about the timing of that, but the beta will be Stratus.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on bringing the new vehicles, the weapons, the third faction, some showcases.
But Altus will definitely be worth the wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll just, there's so much more to explore there. It's really cool.
But not just yet.
Not just yet.
Okay, so...
and sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
but maybe it's good to say one more clearly when the beta is coming,
Right.
Right.
and that is about 2 to 3 weeks after E3.
Yeah.
And an exact date will probably be announced at the exhibition.
So,
Yeah, you can continue. I'll just talk a little bit
Yeah,
more
sure.
about that timing of the beta. So what we are doing now as a team is preparing our build for E3, which is in about a week's time. It starts in LA. A bunch of us are going there to show off the beta. We'll be showing the new showcases there and some other stuff as well. And then we return to the team here, and should be about 2 or 3 weeks after that when we go live with the beta.
so the beta is coming.
It's definitely,
Yeah.
it's quite soon, I think.
Cool. Okay, so let's continue, I guess, with populating the town. So we've put here one guy guarding this bridge. One thing you can do really quickly if you want to place a whole bunch of units is the editor does support copy and paste. So if I just select him here and do Control C, hold on, Control C, and then Control V over here, and there you go. Exact same unit duplicated, same direction, same skill, same type of unit, but just you can put 50 at once if you really want to. But let's leave it at 1.
Or you can use groups to
Or you can
insert
use
a
groups,
couple of
which
preset.
we hinted at before.
Right. But it's not really relevant for this
Yeah,
scenario.
this
so
particular one. It might be
like-
relevant later on if we want to introduce
I
some
think
kind of
it'd be good if
reinforcement.
you
mechanic,
maybe just try to get a couple of guys in there quickly
Yeah.
and then start playing,
for sure.
start shooting shit.
Show the guys some stuff. Okay, so let's quickly place down these guys. Let's put some more people
Maybe
in their
some
way.
machine gunner, auto
Yeah,
rifleman. Maybe.
Sure. Some more auto riflemen. Again, we're having the grouping thing here, so we just ungroup. Move him, I guess, right here.
The only other thing I can say about the beta and its release is that pretty much right after E3, we're going to be staging the entire beta on the development branch. So this will be a little bit confusing maybe, because you'll be playing the alpha with beta content for about 1 or 2 weeks, only on development branch. And this just allows us to test those final things and make sure that it's all smooth before we go live on the main release.
Yeah. So let's swap ourselves back to the player unit and start. Did we set the time of day correct? We did. Okay, cool. So let's actually try this out. Now, one thing you should do as you're making your missions is test them often, and just make sure that obviously that they're fun, they're how you want them to be, and that they're not too difficult, and that of course the AI are functioning in the way that you want them to.
Because obviously even just adding that auto rifleman, I don't know if you put him in, but that just completely changes the entire
Oh yeah,
opposing force,
definitely. And one thing we have to, there's our helicopter. One thing we have to be careful of as well is you might have seen that we are, I placed him relatively close to the player unit and facing him, so it could have been there that we started the mission and just completely shot us. So,
yeah, so later
things you have to be careful
you
of.
want to tweak probably his starting position.
You can see we've left the affiliation to Blue Force, so they're not actually shooting at us, they're shooting at the helicopter. So let's change that really quick. So yeah, now if we change the affiliation to Op4, these guys who we've placed won't actually be shooting at the helicopter, but they'll be looking for us instead. So let's preview again.
Maybe I have a question actually for our audience is how do you feel about the whole alpha beta like roadmap, the way that we're releasing ArmA 3? Is it something you like, that you appreciate like seeing the game before it actually releases?
Yeah, see, we're already in China. But yeah, I would say like it's definitely been beneficial to us.
I'm seeing a couple of likes on the on the Twitch.
Oh, that's a good sign. It's definitely been beneficial to us, I would say.
Yeah, I think it really helps us seeing how the game runs on all these millions or endless combinations of hardware and software. So we can still put some optimization and fixes in and stability stuff.
But it allows us to deliver a much more complete game. And I'm getting shot at.
Okay, you need to focus on the military.
On my playing, yeah. Let's heal ourselves quick.
Like with our team, we would just never be able to just test all of the endless combinations of gameplay. Like people can just, even with mods especially, people can just create missions that are completely crazy. Like recently saw a really cool video where they just dropped in 80 helicopters or something all lifting off, doing a bit of an aerial ballet.
Yeah. Well, where is this guy? But yeah, you can see already we have a basic mission down, which we can actually have a bit of a challenge completing. I think I got him using our nice new 3D scopes right there. Yeah, he's down.
And so the great thing as well, if we hadn't been talking all this time, you would have had this mission up and running in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not ridiculously difficult to get even a really basic scenario down in the editing.
You seem to have some blood on your...
Yeah, I've already used my first aid kit. I don't think that was perhaps the smartest idea to use it at the start, but it seems we have another guy just around the corner here. One of the bridge guards, probably. There it is.
Maybe another thing about the workshop missions is once you've published it, the way to download it is you go to the scenario section in the main menu, and there you'll be able to open the Steam overlay where you can subscribe to missions and download them into the game, play them. And
It's
that
really
works,
easy,
yeah,
really fast.
It works both for single player and multiplayer as well, so that's really good.
Now you might have noticed there that he was just kind of standing there. That's mainly because we have not given these guys any kind of like actual behavior or any of that kind of stuff. So he was just on completely default behavior, but it's very easy to change that, and we'll show that in a second.
How far is the car? Maybe we should just run to it and actually steal it, so you'll have your
Let's
first
have our first
stealing of a car
Yeah.
in the steal car.
Well, let's hope we don't get completely annihilated on our way there. I'm worried about the helicopter.
But
so-
the helicopter doesn't care about
No.
it. It's simple tiny little Thomas
Or
running
just
around.
a little ant. Okay, let's go up here. Be careful
People have
as
been
we go
asking
up.
about the AI as well and like balancing. This is definitely something that we're still tuning a lot.
It's definitely a big focus of our own.
The
mission
weapon
development.
settings, the recoil,
And
yeah.
I've already died.
You failed.
Yes. So if we weren't talking, as we said, we might have already stolen our car. But
So the thing is, we are definitely still balancing all of these settings, that the way that AI detects you and that the weapons behave. That should all still get an iteration or two.
definitely, yeah, it's all still work in progress.
Definitely.
But as I mentioned earlier, we can give these guys some behavior, and one really nice way of doing that is just by giving them a guard waypoint. Now, guard waypoint, like loiter waypoint, is just a special type of waypoint. But the thing to be careful about the guard waypoint is that if you place it, if any of the unit of that side spots you, they will actually run to that position. So you don't want to give everybody that guard waypoint, because then you'll just have everyone in the town running at you.
But it is a really powerful.
It can be a
waypoint
really.
to-
It's particularly useful for reinforcements.
Yeah.
Specifically. So if we were to we could show that in a bit actually if we want to integrate some reinforcements into the mission. But yeah, you could have a group way off and come in, go straight and search for the player.
Is there
which is really
perhaps
nice.
some other asset that we can just drop in to show from the beta?
Something
Anything you can think of?
quick.
Any requests coming in?
Perhaps.
You
yeah.
put an AA launcher in.
Oh yeah,
AA
like the
launcher?
Titan AA
Yeah.
launcher maybe?
So we have a new AA launcher that'll be included in the beta, which will actually be quite useful to show off here. We can maybe shoot down our helicopter. It's called the Titan, and it'll allow us. It's got both A and AT capability, so we can see if we can shoot this guy down.
Yeah. I think it's important to mention that when we add like big assets like a gunship, we have to balance it somehow so you have something to fight back with.
Definitely.
So now, although there's a big threat to you and your teammates with this enormous gunship coming in to kill you, you have something to counter with. It's
And
Yeah,
what
yeah,
better way to
it's-
counter it than a giant rocket launcher on your
it's
shoulder?
pretty simple stuff, but we wanted to be careful about not unbalancing our game with releasing things in different stages.
Right. So this is, as you can see, the Titan AA launcher.
And it'll probably have countermeasures, the MI-48.
Yeah, we do have, the ArmA 3 does have countermeasures on the helicopters, so they won't be that easy to shoot down.
It's one of the
Let's see if
things,
we can-
like next week in the stream, we're going to be showing off the Combined Arms,
Combined Arms
showcase.
Yeah.
There is another showcase that is the supports package, and what is really cool there is there's the Comanche flying. It is engaged by anti-air units, and you see it dropping all the flares, and it's looking amazing.
So you can see, we just bring up our sights here, got a lock on him. You know you'll have a
Nice.
lock when it shows the filled in diamond like this. And there goes countermeasures, so I think we've missed. Yeah, we've missed. So let's reload and try again. Now the thing is, we might still shoot and still he'll get a good countermeasure off and we still won't hit him. But we have given ourselves away to him, so we should probably be a bit.
Have you spoken about
Oh no, we hit him. And down he goes. Well, that was unexpected, but okay. So yeah, you can see at times they will get off the right countermeasures and they will deflect your A missile, but
and they will
other
start
times-
hunting you,
And now, of course, everyone in the town knows that we are here, so we are going to get shot
suppressing
at.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
So you spoken yet about the armored units coming with the beta? or-
Haven't mentioned them yet. No, not yet.
So I think you'll see them more in next week's showcase because they're actually part of it. One of the things coming is our LAV type vehicles, so wheeled armor. We have the AMV on the Blue Force side.
AMV on Blue 4, we have the recently advertised Marad on Op 4.
Correct.
And on I'm not sure if there is one on the.
No, we have the
faction.
on the green faction obviously is the AMRAP or the Strider.
The Strider, yeah.
So
Time to rotate.
I would say we do another rotation.
Okay, so whose
Alright.
turn is it now?
I do rotate.
So thank you for suffering through my Dutch accent.
Suffering.
Now
This
let's
beautiful
have some fun
Dutch
with Czech
accent. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we are bringing in the first Czech, and it's Karol Maricki. Some of the community
Hello.
people will probably know him. And
And here we are.
for one thing, he is famous for the recently introduced Splendid cam viewer.
Oh, should
Well,
be.
I
So,
wouldn't call it
uh,
famous, but apparently it's some useful feature.
Oh, and I just got killed right as I. Oh, damn. Well, okay. Do we want to show off the Splendid Cam?
Well, up to you. The thing is, it's very useful when you want to preview the location, check how does it actually look like.
It could be good
yeah, what
for
are
us to
the
get
sections
like an overview of the town right now if we want.
Yeah,
It could even give us some ideas of where we should place some units and stuff. Because while you do have this 2D editor, it is nice to look in the 3D world and get like an actual feel for where units would logically make sense amongst the buildings, amongst the terrain, and all that kind of stuff. So let's very quickly. Well, actually, perhaps we should cover this first.
Oh, this is also a new feature in ArmA 3. For years, we had no official way how to debug mission on a run. Like, let's say you're testing and you don't want to return back to editor to adjust some small value.
Definitely.
And before, you had to always rely on some community add-ons, which would give you a chance to, for example, kill some soldiers on fly. And
So this is an extremely useful tool for any
yeah,
kind of
like
mission design.
for example, I was using console since Flashpoint, and every time I then went in ArmA 2 to actual released version, not internal version without debug console, I felt
You
like
feel
without
lost.
arms,
Exactly.
I couldn't do
Yeah,
anything.
fish out of water.
Yeah. So what this does is you can you have watch fields which you can say okay, damage player, for example. There are scripting commands. We have a whole internal scripting language. You can check values. You can set values, and on the bottom you have buttons which will lead you to some pre-designed tools or features. Configurer which will let you see actually every configuration in a game. It's not something we're keeping for ourselves, as you mentioned. Our tools are your tools.
This is actually in the public alpha now, isn't it? Currently.
Absolutely, we click configure
Yeah.
and we can check every value in game. Nothing is secret. But both numbers and
Whoops, sorry.
configuration is boring. Let's go to spectator
Yeah.
camera.
So let's bring up spectator or Splendid Cam.
Oh, sorry.
Splendid Cam. There
Yes.
we go. So let's click the camera button here, and here we go.
This is primarily designed as also a screenshot making tool. Some of you may have noticed that a few weeks ago we had I wrote some tutorial about screenshot making. There was some competition for it, and this tool is incredibly powerful. Like, you can see the simulation stopped, so you don't need to be afraid that somebody will kill you while you're actually in the camera.
And it does make it very useful, as we said before, for looking at the mission location.
Yeah,
to
like
see.
you can go up and check how actually the scene looks like from a helicopter point of view. You can see if there are any forests or any hideouts where you can escape from the helicopter. Other than you're insignificant, so you need to be escaping. And also, it's very powerful. Do something.
Yeah, sure. Take the wheel.
You can very quickly move across the island, so that may be too much. But we can move to opposite part of island, and we can preview everything. It will mark you the places on the map, so
Points of
you
interest,
see
yeah.
what villages are there. So you can return back. And yeah, if you thought this looks pretty huge, so yeah, definitely wait for Altus, because then you can fly over it for
That is
seconds
big.
and
It's a
seconds
big
and
island.
seconds, and it keeps going. Like I can spend one day just picking good mission location Altus because oh this looks cool, and then I go to the next.
Yeah.
Other than it's same with Stratis. Actually, I just pretty much every day I'm finding
Something
tiny
new.
spot which environmental art is.
It
Just
surprises
creating
even
a-
us when it's like, oh yeah, there's this place.
So
How did we not know
Who
about
of you
this?
discovered the underwater cave
Mhm.
on Stratis? There's even skeleton in it.
I guess maybe we could show them in a bit.
No,
perhaps.
no, let's keep it secret.
Or maybe we let them go and find it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Back to mission.
But yeah, extremely useful tool. And so as you can see here, this is the same. Basically, this is what we were looking at in the editor. If we can just turn it north. exactly the same, just represented in the 3D world. Hold on. I seem to have got myself mixed around. Fantastic. But we can just reset very
Don't roll
quick.
camera to
Yeah.
side, it's just for skin generation.
But there we go. So there's the town itself. So let's go down a bit closer and try to find a decent location where we might want to stick a surprise guard, shall we say. Oh, we could perhaps stick him over
on
by
the
this
playground,
wall
I
or in
think
this
it will
playground.
make
Yeah.
sense.
I don't
like
think
it
many
makes
will be
some fun.
expecting. Exactly. I don't
Yeah.
think many will be expecting a guy to randomly be here.
In the camera, when you press space, it will teleport you to the location, and when I exit the camera, I can... Okay, let's have some fun.
Yeah. Oh, we're going up and and we're gonna get shot at. Oh.
Stop shooting at me when I'm sliding on the playground.
How very rude. Okay, so I guess we've settled on sticking some guy in the actual playground itself.
Yes, they will be defending the playground. It's
Defending-
very
yeah.
strategic
There's
objective.
the car and then there's the playground.
Everybody will
defend.
ignore the car once
Yeah.
they see the playground.
Exactly. So we are right here. This is the little gap right here. So let's stick a surprise there waiting for the player. Now the cool thing is we can actually make it a real surprise that he has to watch out for if we take a look at the probability of presence slider. So what this actually controls is if the unit is present or not in the mission itself. So if we bring it down to say like halfway, so that's about 50%. So now the cool thing is that he'll only show up, well, it's exactly 49%. You can see a preview of it just underneath when I highlight him. But he'll only show up about half the time. So if we stick him there and give him, let's make it about 75%, so he's usually there. Now, if we preview, he might be there, he might not. So let's actually give it a try, why don't we?
This is, by the way, very sometimes dangerous because it can make your mission either incredibly simple or terribly difficult. Definitely, randomization is tricky stuff, and it's good to add it at later stages of mission development.
And it can be something definitely that's difficult to test as well, because if you're trying to balance a mission and you throw in huge elements of randomization, then you'll have to be very careful about what you are actually testing.
What's, for example, sometimes more useful to have the soldier always there, but randomize his position. You can also do it in a turn. He's there.
So let's see if our
And also,
playground
you surprise
starters-
him, he didn't surprise
Yes.
you. That's also very tricky. When you are mission designer, you know where you're placing enemies. You then expect that.
Oh, that's why he almost got me. Cool.
That's
So
why
we
it's
got
always important to have some friends who will test the mission for you, because they will be unbiased. They won't know where the enemies are. But now try randomize their positions, including using
Yeah,
markers.
so instead we can actually, well, maybe that might be something to experiment with the player's starting position instead.
Oh yeah, that's
So we, like, you might remember as well in Steal the Car from Flashpoint that you did start in multiple places if you tried it. And there is a very easy way for you to set that up using markers. So you can see we go back to the left side of the screen and select the marker mode and just double click. So here we go. Here we have the insert marker window. And much more simple than any of the other windows, but you have name and text fields. So let's give it a name. You have to give markers a name. It won't let you place one otherwise. But let's call this start 1, shall we say, start. Why is that a plus sign? There we go.
yeah. By default, this marker is invisible. Normally markers, you can by them you can show from where the attack is coming,
Right.
arrows. But this special empty kind of marker
It's
won't be
invisible on
visible
the
for
map.
players.
Yeah, it's only visible when you're in the editor.
Which is also a problem sort of now, because when we switch back to groups, you won't see it.
So for the sake of placing this randomization, maybe we should actually set it
Start.
to a start, let's say. Cool. So now we have one marker. So what the thing is if we go to the group,
it
disappears anyway.
Oh yeah, markers are visible only when you
Only
have
in
F6 markers.
only in marker mode. Yeah, that's correct. So, but we know it's there, so we can try and highlight it. Yeah, cool. So we switch back to group mode, and we just click on the marker and drag it to the unit. So now the cool thing is you now have 2 possible starting locations for this particular unit.
Yeah, what's
So-
important to remember, your actual unit's position is also one of the random points, which sometimes even I keep forgetting.
Yeah, if you have a whole bunch of markers and group them to it, you have to keep in mind that where you've placed the unit will be one of those possible starting locations. So I guess let's stick it over here instead. So you can see if we just do that simple change, you'll have quite the significant difference in how the mission plays out.
Okay.
But now we don't really want to show that, so let's change it back to an empty marker.
Definitely make sure your starting location is one of the most awesome locations ever, because it's first thing players
Of
see
course,
after
yeah.
starting the mission.
And as
Beautiful
we did,
sunrise, unicorns, you know.
and as we did earlier, we made sure, like for example, that he is facing the sun and all that. Even perhaps if it's not the most practical thing in the world, but it certainly looks nice when you do it. But yeah, let's see if it will randomize.
And
our
then
starting
everybody will be
location.
using sun, and then your mission will be unique when it will be in terms of it.
That's true. But we can, so yeah, we've already added 2 elements of randomization to the mission. One is probability of presence, and the other is changing the player's start position. So you can see it randomly selected us the default position, but we can actually just keep selecting to restart the mission until it actually places us in the new starting location.
But
let's try it
so
again.
what all you have in mission? Do you have actually the card there?
The card is there.
And you already have some logic, like ending mission when you.
So there we go. The logic is not there yet. No, that will be one of the things we should check out later. Yeah, but you can see we're now on a completely different part. But this is a good thing about testing because we're already getting shot at, which is perhaps not the best welcome to a mission. So you got to be really careful about, as we said earlier, where you start the mission for the player. But this is still a nice little starting location. But as Carol suggested, maybe we should
keep them in your post. Yeah, you can see actually that there's one point people are asking a lot. You can see zipper 5 written in the menu.
Oh yeah.
It's actually one of those stream unsafe features, and people are asking a lot what we're going to do with it. Because if you're streaming, people can see your name, name of the server, name of other players. There are those people who can actually join the server and go to
stream sniping.
Yeah, stream sniping. Not a beautiful thing. Definitely, we are aware of you. We are in the process of actually almost done analysis. We identified all those basically dangerous, stream dangerous places in the user interface. And currently, the most probable is that we will introduce an option to actually like enable stream saving, and it will hide all these things, because these things are useful still for normal players. Sometimes you want to see a name of other players, but for you as a streamer, you don't mind if you get rid of them. So definitely not in initial beta, but eventually later on we would want to look at it.
We definitely won't forget about that for sure. Yeah. But yeah. So
don't be mad at us, Sacriel, please.
A bit of a shout out to Sacriel there, yeah. Okay, so with about 15 minutes left on the clock, let's get our mission actually progressing once we've stolen our car. So as Carol mentioned rightly earlier, we should add some kind of mission logic to the structure here. And I guess we'll...
Oh, I got a beer.
Oh, you got a beer. I didn't get a beer? Wow, that's not nice.
Thanks, Variable from Comrade in
So let's switch here to trigger mode. Oh, I did get a beer. I got an empty beer. I think I've just been creatively directed again. Yeah, he gave me an empty beer.
They're just pretending it's full and drink.
Man, these guys, see what I have to work with? Okay, so let's continue. So select the trigger mode right here, and let's place down a trigger. So again, just select it, double click. So trigger interface. What we're going to do here is add a very simple condition here, which is, I guess, play it. So this is sort of an introduction to the more scripted aspects of ArmA, in that we have our own scripting language. Now obviously we're going to keep it pretty simple here because this is for just getting your foot in the door, but perhaps the most basic thing to do here is reference the player. So we just simply type player, very easy. I actually got a proper beer now. I like him much better.
He's good food.
Yeah. Yes, cheers. So again, shout out to the comrades in arms for the beer. So man, how am I going to script when I'm drinking alcohol? So player, let's do better. Player in, so he's inside the vehicle, and what should we call the vehicle? Truck 1, let's say. Truck 1. Cool. One thing about the triggers is you can have a radius for different functions of them, but for the sake of this, we don't really need it. So let's get rid of the radius just for the sake of
But I believe you're doing it
visual
wrong.
clarity.
Why not to give waypoint for the player on the vehicle, and then when he gets in, the waypoint activates itself?
It's true. The problem with that is if you do that, then he knows exactly where the truck is. So maybe
Oh.
it depends on what you want to accomplish as the designer. It's a good point to bring up, because if you want it's all about changing up the gameplay. So if you want part of the mission to actually be searching for the car, as it was in Flashpoint, then you don't give him a waypoint. But if you want him to know exactly where this car is and say, like, this is only the start of the mission, so later on he's going to take the car and do something with it, then maybe he does need to know specifically where the car is, so that there's a greater sense of urgency, shall we say.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But for the sake of this, I think we'll just keep it that he has to actually search for the car. So that's, yeah, we've gotten rid of the axis here, and the condition is correct. You need to what?
Put there zeros.
Put zeros, yeah, that's
Do
true.
some default values.
See, this is perhaps
check
yeah,
One of
perhaps
the
a little bit
pitfalls
of
of
a,
living in Czech Republic, all
Exactly.
computers have pre-installed Czech language.
and I'm completely not used to it, so bear with me.
Well, I'm
so-
Czech and I'm still not used to it.
But the thing we've done here is we're referencing this object called truck1, but we don't actually have that defined yet in
What
the
is
mission.
Truck1?
So truck1 is actually what we're going to name the truck that we have to steal. So that what you do is you just double click on him, and you go back into the insert unit window, and in the name you just type truck1 or truck plus, and there you go. So now it says, when you highlight it, it says the type of vehicle and its variable. Now this variable can be accessed anywhere during the mission, but again, we're going to keep it simple, so we're just accessing it here in our trigger.
Yeah, if I would leave their debug console for public use, I would just open it, truck1, set post player, move it on my location,
And there you go.
get in, leave.
Yeah. This is what we have to prepare for when we have people testing our missions. So now we have this trigger here that is detecting if the player's gotten into the truck. But the thing is, nothing will happen when he does. So let's add like a very simple indication that the game is properly detecting. So one
Yeah,
really
yeah.
easy way to do it is, as Carl's rightly suggesting, just give a hint. Now this might be a problem because it is a Czech keyboard. Yes, please.
It's English.
Thank you. Ah, there we go. That's much better. So we have hints, and what should we put? Drive away quickly, let's say. Drive away quickly.
But what we can also do is add player a task using a task module.
Well, that is true.
So we have a trigger. Trigger means that player in truck, the trigger activates when player gets in truck. So
I guess we
can
should-
give it a hint,
Yep.
and put our module, like in ArmA 2,
Module
working with
mode right here.
modules, it all requires a scripting,
Hmm.
not a nice thing to do. With modules, you just place it in the map.
Just like a unit, yeah. So let's go ahead and add
Yeah, first, how you actually get the modules.
Right.
There's one of the switch on the left.
module 2 on
markers
the
and
left
then
side,
modules.
as with the other ones.
Place it near the trigger because
Mhm.
you'll be synchronizing it.
Okay.
One of the new things in actually ArmA 3 is that you can like it was technically in ArmA 2 as well, but it wasn't used as much and it wasn't consistent. Now many modules can be synchronized with triggers. That means that those modules will become active
Right.
only when triggers are active as well.
So
So
what we'll do
put,
here is select the Intel category
Yes.
and select the set task state.
Yeah. First video then will create us.
We'll do that after this, but what we want to do right now is just set up so that the task gets completed when he gets into the car. So you change here very easily the state set to succeeded and just select OK.
But,
So here you have our set
but you're
task state
setting task
module.
which doesn't exist. So
That is a
what
bit
do
of a
we do?
problem. So instead we will, as well as this, we will create a create task module. So here you have a bunch of different options right here. If you don't put a task ID, for example, it will assign a default one. But for now, let's put like
Steal.
let's actually call it steal the car. There you go.
So
our task
this is
ID
system
now-
ID. This won't be visible to player.
Yeah, this is completely for your referencing later on. But let's call it steal the car. Description: take the car and get out of there. So this is stuff that the player will actually see when
Yeah,
he's
title and description he sees in the map.
looking at.
But meanwhile,
tasks.
marker, he will see it. He would see it actually on the car
Mhm.
itself, but we won't be putting any marker
Because
because
we want him to search.
we
Yeah.
want to search for it. So this
Cool.
is fine.
So this should be all we need to set up for now.
So we
So
have a
this-
task.
okay, so we have a task.
Ungroup it.
But now the problem is we don't have
Who does it belong to?
yeah, an owner of the task. Very easy to set one. You just select the synchronizing mode on the left side here,
Or press F5.
or F5. Yeah, each of these
F5.
modes. Oh, there's the next one. Each of the modes on the left-hand side will correspond to your F keys on your keyboard. So F1 is units, F2 is groups, etc.
So
But
synchronize the
F5
player.
is synchronized. So let's synchronize him to our player unit way over here.
So now player will have task on
Now
the
the
mission
task
beginning.
is belonging to the player. Yeah. So
The position is irrelevant. We didn't set. There's other module set as destination. We didn't use it, so it's just task which exists without any destination.
correct. Yeah.
And it's the default state is it's just created. Is it assigned automatically?
It is not. So we should actually do that first. So let's put down another set task state module, just same way we did before, but change the state to assigned instead. Again, you don't want these grouped, so you just select the group thing and drag away.
Yeah, the automatic grouping is something we want to take a
Yeah,
look at.
that's true.
So now, upon mission creation, you will
You have a task, and it'll be set as your current task.
Yes.
But now we have this, which is just kind of sitting there, our set task state once the player gets into the truck. So there are two things we need to do here. One is we need to reference this to the task itself, which is just synchronizing it straight to the create task.
But just
we did
like
before.
that, it would complete it on the beginning.
Exactly. So what we need to do is synchronize it now back to our trigger.
So
So
this
now it will
so
only-
this task will be
yeah.
executed only when the trigger is active.
Exactly. So what we'll do now is preview. So save the mission, and once it's saved,
You might want to actually move yourself closer.
Yeah,
So actually we
let's-
don't need to travel
let's
there.
move ourselves a bit more close. So
No, actually right next to the car.
Yeah.
Right now we need to for testing. Many times in mission you will be teleporting yourself or skipping, basically moving into it, so you actually don't need to play the whole mission again. You just casually move yourself next to the car
Yeah.
and complete the task.
but then we're thwarted by our random position. So let's actually
Our
move
mission
ourselves
is
up
too
more.
smart, it's smarter than us.
So let's try and not get killed as we go and try to steal the car. One cool thing that we could perhaps show off here is
Or you can just play the camera and teleport yourself.
Oh, that's true, actually. So this is another cool thing we can use. So hold on, bring ourselves over to the truck, and teleport very easily just by pressing space. There we go.
But actually, do we have a task? Like, on the beginning, the initial task is not announced.
We
Yes,
do have a
we
task,
have a
yeah.
task.
So there's our task. Steal the car, take the car, and get out of there. And yeah, so
Okay,
now,
okay.
if it works correctly, we should have succeeded. And there we
Nice.
go.
We stole
And
the
then
car.
there's our hint in the top right. So now we have a bit of a problem because we're going to get shot at by these guys. So let's try for it.
Well, your driving skills.
Oh,
are
and I
good.
hit one guy. And this,
Okay,
our
so
helicopter
task
is-
works. So only thing that we need now is then have trigger which will end the mission once you're out of
Once
the
you
second
escape.
task, and we'll click the editor. I think we don't need to end it on specific slot. We can just, when you're outside of the
For
village
sure,
area, in the car,
So this could be a good place to use the radius of triggers. So let's make it, let's say 200 meters. Let's see if that's big enough. Now let's make it 300 instead.
but we need one trigger to actually group with player.
That's
Normally triggers can be activated, for example, by sight. So when any, for example, op for soldier enters it or leaves it, it will get activated. But this trigger we want to be activated only by player. So grouping again.
Yep, what we'll do is we'll group him to our player unit. There you go.
So they are connected. So but open
But
the
now
trigger.
if we go back in, we have new options in our activation here. So
You
if
can
we
do
say, you have vehicle, you have whole group, group leader, or any group member.
By vehicle, it means also the unit itself is in engine vehicle.
Exactly.
But this now it will get activated since player starts within
Mm-hmm.
the trigger. We want it actually when he's not there.
So you can see here we have a whole bunch of different options, present, detected by blue 4, etc. But what we want here is not present, so that this trigger will only fire once the unit has gotten out of the area.
But also we need that it will be triggered only when player is not present and in the vehicle.
And in the vehicle.
Otherwise, he would just leave and launch the
True.
mission.
Yeah. So what we want to do here is in the condition, put.
This refers to actually trigger conditions.
So let's put vehicle player does not equal player. So there you go. It
Or
will,
specifically equals to truck 1.
or equals to truck 1, because then technically he could get into any vehicle he wants to. So let's click.
And
equals.
you need still to keep there this. Because
Yes, that's correct. This.
use actual and.
Yeah.
Like,
So what we have here
Yeah.
is
these
the
two
trigger
ampersand
conditions.
symbols actually it
Hmm.
means that this variable and this variable has to be completed. You can actually write there directly and.
Yep.
So it will
It's
be.
exactly the same as
Yeah.
writing that. So you have this, which is the conditions of the trigger, and the player is in truck 1.
Yes.
So there you go. So now this should only fire when
And
you-
also it should end the mission.
yeah. So what you want to do here, in that case, is select a type here, and let's choose one of the ending types. You
Yeah.
can see you have 6 different endings and 1 lose ending.
These are predefined. You can always use our in-game functions to call any other ending.
Yep.
Or call ending with some special animation.
It's true.
But for now,
But
we can
for
use-
simple purposes, let's just select end 1. So that should be all we have to do, and now our mission should successfully end when the player has stolen the truck and gotten out of the town. So all that's left now is to save and try it, and we should have a working steal the car mission. So let's preview and see.
Of course, technically, you would say this is just the beginning. Then there are other things like giving it overview image.
Yeah, there's a
giving it
lot
loading
of-
image. Now
yeah.
there's no loading image.
Mm.
But
There's a lot of nice
these
stuff
are
you
more
can add.
advanced stuff, and technically the mission works without it.
Mm.
But if you would want it to complete level, these things.
Then you
are
might want to
advanced.
add some of the nice little details. But for now, we're keeping things simple, so we'll just show you how to end the mission. So we're in our truck, we're driving away, we're getting shot at quite a bit.
You're an enemy.
Yeah,
You expect.
let's see if we can. Mission end.
Now it will go with
Yeah. Oh, but there's our helicopter. Ah, but mission completed. We stole the car
And the last seconds
at
you
the
get
very
away.
last second. Yeah.
Well done.
Well, now we have a mission that has.
Yeah, we would need to then put their condition if the
that
car
the
is
truck can
destroyed,
actually
mission
move,
fail.
yeah.
We might do some in that case. Go to some
But this
extra
stuff,
location.
yeah, this stuff is definitely further polish that you can add to your missions.
Now
and
you
stuff.
you guys know how to do it,
Mhm.
and you can. It would be just animate triggers when the player
Right.
is dead or outside of the area.
Mhm.
You know the basics.
So now we have.
Did you name the mission?
We have steal the car right there,
No.
but we have not named it in the intel box.
So we
So
need to name
perhaps-
the mission, and then
And
I
what
will
would we
fill
call
that.
it?
Steal the car.
The
Splendid
car.
steal the car.
Splendid steal the car.
Absolutely.
Splendid steal the car. There you go. Save and we have an ArmA mission.
Could be exported.
We could, but we maybe later we'll actually host this
Retro-
for other people to download and try out for themselves. But yeah, so now we have a completed, more or less, basic ArmA mission where you steal the car. So yeah, I hope that everybody learned something and enjoyed this live stream.
Right, that was way too easy. Making missions cannot be this simple. No way.
Well, you'd be surprised actually. Like, it's the cool thing about ArmA is that it is very easy for you to just hop into the editor and make your own stuff. You can see that took us only an hour to put together very basic
Well,
steal the car.
It took us 10 minutes to make a mission.
And a lot of time to talk
it.
about new stuff. That's true. But okay, so as I was saying, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. And
Please announce next week.
yep, of course, and
what
of
we are
course,
doing.
yep. There's also next week's live stream, which will be a showcase of the combined arms mission that will be included in the public beta for everyone to try out. But until then, I guess we can thank everyone for coming along and just say
Yeah,
our goodbyes.
thanks a lot.
Thank
And,
you.
Well, we'll see you again next week.
Mhm.
And most importantly, at E3,
Oh yeah,
where
for
we
sure.
are showing some exciting stuff. So,
All right.
Thank
this
you for
is kind
joining
of the
us.
start.
Yeah.
If
Thanks
you're
for
not-
joining us.
If you're not playing ArmA now, go now play ArmA after this. If you don't have it, go to Steam
Yeah.
and go get it.
And
Make
go
a
pick
better
it up.
steal the car mission than
Yeah.
zip.
Yes.
Oh man.
And thanks everyone for their support for the ArmA 3 Alpha so far. It's been really fantastic.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Really great.
thank you everyone.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
See ya.
see you later.